Hi.
Hi, here we are. The Lauren podcast, we're back. This is not a paid advertisement for Topo
Literally,
Chico.
I was just thinking, we're not sponsored by Topo, but we could be.
It's kind of toasty out here on the patio.
Yep. A little, anyway, yes.
Summer in Memphis. Great time to be alive.
Very humid.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Today we are talking about boundaries and how to say no, when to say no versus kind of pushing and saying yes.
Yeah, we're both people who like to say yes, and I think for many of us, including the two of us, sometimes our value and worth is really tied up in what we can do and being capable and truly enjoying being active and involved in many different things. And we've both mentioned that we have a lot of different roles as yoga teachers, movement teachers. We're both wives, we're both moms, friends, relatives. Like, you have a lot of different hats to wear, and sometimes the opportunities and demands come really fast, and there's a lot of them, and it's very hard to sort through where to put your energy.
Yeah. And how do you determine when and where to say yes and how to say no, especially if you want to say yes, but there are not enough hours of the day and you can't say yes to everything all the time as much as we would love to.
I just want to know if anyone else has this problem that I do, where I just wish there were more hours in the day, and I just keep wishing. You do?
What a surprise.
Well, and it's like at some point I need to swallow it that there will not be more hours in the day. And so if I add something else will have to give. So if there's not enough margin there already to accommodate something new, I'm not just going to be given 3 more hours to get that done, or to enjoy this thing, or to also rest, or take time to feed myself.
Yesterday I called my husband on my way from one thing to another, and I was like, any chance you're going by Whole Foods and can drop me off a smoothie or something so I can eat before this next thing? And he was like, you need to eat. And this is not a problem I usually have. Like, I feed myself regularly. I get very hangry. I love a snack. But he was like, go get something to eat. Your thing will still start on time if you take 5 extra minutes to go fuel yourself. And I was like, okay, yes.
Sounds like my husband.
Yeah. So I went and got my smoothie, and all was right with the world. It was great. But sometimes you also need that like voice of reason. Often for me, it's Emily to be like, no, go take care of yourself. But it's okay to put yourself first. And that's not even putting yourself first. It's just taking care of yourself. But
right.
There are
just
also
giving
situations
value
like
to value to the things and activities that you really need in order to live, and to live a full, happy, engaged life. And that's where I think it gets difficult, is the things that pull at us, we say yes to, then sometimes we start to devalue our basic needs, or the things that really fill us up. And we have another podcast where we talk about some of our self-care practices that we do. And I know we're both learning like how to guard those things, because when you devalue them, and I'm using that word because I want it to like sink in, like it's a big deal to assign less value to the things that you know will actually help you fill up and be able to do what you need to do. And sometimes you have a busy season where you can't do all your things and feel great all the time. We know that. However, it has helped both of us to think about what we say yes to, and that it's okay to say no, and in fact very necessary to say no. And then how do you deal with the emotional fallout from saying no? Because if you have a hard time saying no, the suffering that may come from that no can really steal your joy from the things you said yes to. And then it's just a vicious cycle.
But it's funny because half the time saying that no usually isn't as big of a deal to the people that you're saying no to as it is to, well, at least for me, as it is for me, like that emotional fallout where it's like, oh, but they're going to be so disappointed, or like, I really wish I could go to that thing. It's like, no offense, but are they really going to care that much? Like, yeah, sure, it would be nice if you could be there, and sometimes you can't, and that's okay.
That's right. And you don't always have to give all your reasons for saying no either.
Right. No is a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
No is a complete sentence.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coming from those who feel like they have to explain themselves to other people.
I was sending a text yesterday, and it was about something, and I was like, you don't have to say half of this. And I was like, edit, take all of that out. This is what happened. Send.
Did it say no?
No, it was more of the FYI text, but the same kind of concept, like, hey, FYI, this happened, and this happened, and this was the result. And it was just like, no, hey, FYI, this was the result.
Keep it brief, to the point.
It was okay.
Save
don't
your
have
energy.
to give all the details all the time.
Right. And again, I think our discomfort at saying no starts to show us also our need to be understood or to be validated by other people's reactions. And that's hard to really come to terms with. And that's the hard work of truly saying no. And as Baron Baptiste in the book Being a Power says, saying yes, we want to be a yes, so to speak, and really show up to the things in our lives that we want to do. But that also means that we have to be a no to those things that are not as important, even if they're good things, and maybe they're not where we're choosing to channel our energy at this time.
Right.
And, if it's not a hell yes,
it's a no.
And that's something everybody has to figure out for themselves, what truly is important to you.
What is a hell yes?
Yeah, exactly. What, is it, your family, your work? We all have different values. Is it cooking meals, or is it getting out for a walk with a person? There's lots of different things that we could be yeses to or give value to, but everybody has to figure out, you have to figure out for yourself what that is for you, and then start to really, like I like to say, align my actions with my intentions.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you can get clear on your intentions and your values, then you get to do the hard work of saying no to those things that aren't serving those intentions at this time.
And one thing we were talking about, we talk about it a lot too, but it's like, okay, if you try to say no, yes to everything, well, what are you actually saying no to? Whether that's your own self-care or time with your family or whatever it is, but everything you say yes to means you're saying no to something else,
whether you like it or not.
Right. Yeah. And are the things that you saying no to allowing you to do the things to align your actions with your intentions, to be a yes in the places and really be present there for the things that you are saying yes to, instead of saying yes to all the other things and then just going through the motions when you're completely exhausted. Maybe it's saying yes to something when really you just need a nap or a full 8 hours of sleep. And that party sounds really fun, but I know that I have a full day tomorrow. So I need to say yes to sleep and say no to the party.
And know that is a great choice.
Yeah.
And
it's not a choice you have to do all the time, but sometimes it's like if you say yes to enough things, your body's going to tell you no, whether that's through injury, illness, like just pure exhaustion. So
yes, and if I can speak from experience, if you live in that space of the unrealistic understanding of time, that you will not magically be added hours to your day.
Or your sleep.
Yeah, chances are you're going to get run down or potentially be really crabby, or end up paying for it later. And, we live and learn, so it's not a perfect continuum.
It's never perfect.
Yeses and nos. But the more honest we can get about who we are, like what really, you kind of know in your heart of hearts if you're being asked to do something and you're like, man, I would love to do this, but I just don't know. I just know myself that given all the other things I have going on, I'm not going to be able to show up to that and be fully present.
Right.
And so I really need to say no. And the thing is, you can kind of talk yourself out of the no.
Right. Well, it's not that big a deal.
It might be
I'll just
somebody
go for
doing
a
something with
little
somebody
bit.
you really like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you've already got a full plate, unless you can take something off your plate to make room,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it should probably be a no.
Yeah. I remember one week during teacher training, I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this. I'm sharing it. You had a full week. Emily had a very full week, and she had things that she really wanted to get done. And she said, for this week, I'm not going to say yes to anything else. And I remember there was one thing I was like, oh, do you want to go do this? And you stuck to it. You said, I don't remember what it was, but you're like, no, thank you, but I can't because I'm going to get this done. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Good
It's
for
like,
you.
this is what I've said this is important, and I'm actually going to take the steps
Yeah.
that will align with what I said.
Yeah.
Because how I will feel when it's done is I will feel a sense of accomplishment, of, you know, lining my energy up with those things. And there will be time to do the other things later. But for this week, I've got to focus and do this.
And you did.
Yeah. And it's very empowering. It's hard, though.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. And, you know, there are times when you may have someone who has a need around you, and you drop everything to go meet that need. Or if there's an emergency, like there's times when you do just turn a blind eye to all the other things and you channel your energy because it's urgent. You know, there are times you don't always stick to your plan.
And that's priorities become really clear in those moments too.
Yeah, sometimes it takes tragedy or something very much going not according to plan to help you see what's really important to you.
Right. Yeah.
So one thing that has really helped me is, I will share this from personal experience, that my husband and I have been in full-time ministry at different points in our lives, and it's very easy to get caught up in meeting lots of needs and really wanting to, and because you know lots of needs. But guess what? Just because you know a lot of needs doesn't mean you're superhuman and you can do it all. And my dad gave me some really helpful advice at one point. He said, my kids were little. I was very involved in some different service ministries and spending a lot of time with other people, and really loved it. But I also was getting very tired and felt like my reserves were getting really low, and I wasn't able to enjoy, you know, my time with my family like I wanted to. And he said, you know, Emily, no one's going to say no for you.
I love that.
And it's so simple, but I think it helped me realize I had been waiting for someone older and wiser. I guess it was him, but someone older and wiser in my circles to come and say, you have to say no to that because you need to take care of your little kids right now, or you need to. I wanted somebody to tell me what I knew in my heart of hearts was what I needed. But the fact was, I'm the one that knew that best.
Right.
I had to, you know, find that internal security of being able to say no so that I could take my time and energy and put it towards what was most important to me at that time. And so just the presence of these needs did not mean I had to be the one to step up and take them on my plate. And that can come with a lot of guilt. But what I think you can learn is that guilt isn't always accurate.
Right.
That, again, for me, the hardest part, I think, is just really accepting my limited resources as a human. And I see this in my yoga practice too, is I'm learning. I've really taken some steps, resting and recovering more. But, you know, if it feels good and I think I can push for that last handstand, or I can pressing handstand takes a lot of energy. And you don't always realize till later that you've really maxed your body out. And even though it felt good in the moment, like, there's wisdom
in dialing
and holding
back,
keeping some margin, keeping some reserves. You know, and every time you do that needed tricep, you don't have to take the arm balance or
sometimes
go fully into crow.
Skip the vinyasa.
Yeah.
Step back to down dog.
Just step back. Yeah. If you've already done a lot, again, that's it's so telling. but I like to add in different little strength practices, and I practice at home some in addition to the classes I take at Hot Yoga Plus. And so I'll do a home practice or add in Pilates or Sculpt and just kind of not even take that into account then when I go do my normal routine. And
like, why are my shoulders so tired?
yeah, and then I have you know what's gotten me is a headache and tightness in my traps. I ended up having to go see 901 PT, which they are amazing. But learning that I don't need to be operating at max effort so much of the time, I need to dial it back, rest, recover, build strength slowly.
Yeah. Let your body like work hard, right? We stress, like we're at Symmetry where I do breath coaching. We talked about, you know, stress plus rest equals growth. So it's like, yes, work hard, push, 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 but then you have to let your body rest in order to get stronger. Otherwise, you're just stress.
Right. And if you're hitting a plateau or you feel like you're kind of beating your head against a wall, not kind of running into the same issues over and over, that's a good time to get some outside opinion and to take a look at your routines. And sometimes you do need that objective third party that can say, you're doing a lot. Sometimes Nate will be like, if I wake up sore, he's like, oh, you're a normal human.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of like Will saying,
go eat.
You can't keep going if you don't take time to eat. It is important.
Yes.
You are important.
Yes.
This is part of you.
Right.
It's feeding you, you know.
And this is probably a topic for another time, but we say this, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If I'm fully depleted because I've been running around doing all the things all day, well, at the end of the day, I'm not going to have anything to give to my kid and my family because I'm going to be stuck on the couch with probably an unhealthy snack because I'm starving.
Yeah, and then if it's me and it doesn't have enough protein, I'll get a headache and because I didn't take time to actually make a little tuna fish or something.
Are you hydrating? Doing the things that you know can sustain you so that you can keep doing the things you want to do.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
if you want to be a yes, you also have to be a no. And good news is you can learn to get comfortable and more confident in that.
It's liberating.
It is liberating. And to know that you don't have to explain yourself to everyone when you need to be a no.
Yeah.
So if it's not a hell yes,
it's a beep no.
Okay, y'all, go say no to something so that you can be a yes to something else.
Yes.